welcome to the West Asia Post, our weekly special where we get you the big and the latest, the unfiltered and the unbiased from the world's most tense region. I'm Ananya Dutta, and before we dive into this week's edition, let's take a quick look at the top headlines.
The International Atomic Energy Agency says that Iran's nuclear stockpile of enriched uranium has reached over 23 times the limit set out in the 2015 accord between Tehran and world powers. The UAE withdraws from a US-led maritime coalition tasked with securing tense Gulf waterways that are vital to the global oil trade. UAE did not mention a reason for the move. Lebanese judge questions central bank chief Riyad Salameh after Beirut received a second Interpol red notice targeting him following an arrest warrant from Munich. Iraq presents an ambitious plan to turn itself into a regional transportation hub by developing its road and rail infrastructure, linking it with Europe and the rest of West Asia.
Now, something big is brewing in West Asia. This week, the Sultan of Oman was on a visit to Iran. Muscat has historically been the negotiator between the West and Tehran. It played a key role in inking the 2015 nuclear pact. And the visit at a time like this has stirred off the rumor mill on a possible revival of the controversial deal.
New hope for the Iran nuclear deal may be on the cards, as the Sultan of Oman visits Tehran on his first visit since he took the throne. Haytham bin Tariq Al Sayed arrived in Tehran on Sunday. In official terms, the focus of the visit was on regional diplomatic and security issues. It came just 2 days after Muscat mediated a prisoner swap between Iran and Belgium. Muscat has traditionally played mediator between Tehran and the West. It has also had a key role in facilitating relations between Iran and the Arab world. Oman is reportedly among the crucial players which oversaw the Iran-Saudi truce. The big visit, however, was clouded in secrecy. Iranian media said it was focused on bolstering economic cooperation between the two countries. There's also an eerie mum on Iran's nuclear program. Iranian media reports that the secret talks might have included possible revival of the deal. Even when the original deal was signed, Oman played the role of a mediator between Tehran and the US. The Sultanate was reported to have hosted secret US-Iran talks ahead of the signing of the deal, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. The pact gave Iran relief from international sanctions in return for curbs on its nuclear program. While nuclear talks were missing from the readouts, there was development on the diplomatic front. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said he would welcome the resumption of diplomatic relations with Egypt. Ties between Tehran and Cairo had soured after the 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran and Egypt's recognition of Israel, the Islamic Republic's sworn enemy. Speaking of Egypt, Cairo has agreed to restore full diplomatic relations with Ankara. The move follows a phone call from Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to congratulate Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan on his election victory. The two leaders agreed to the exchange of ambassadors in the near future. These developments fall in line with sweeping shifts in West Asia, ones which followed the China-brokered truce between regional heavyweights Iran and Saudi Arabia. Normalization is the big word in the region. The world has its eyes on West Asia, keeping close watch on what happens when the storm eases and the dust settles.
The dust has settled on Turkish polls. The opposition, which until a week ago was being looked at as a tough contender, now stands defeated. What does this loss mean for the united opposition? And what do they need to learn as local polls near?
The Turkish polls are over. Erdogan has won another term in office, bringing forward his two-decade rule to its third. The dust settled in the last week, and with it came a question. If the opposition lost when the tide was in their favor, then where do they stand? As the incumbent president solidifies his hold on the people, the opposition, led by Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu's Nation Alliance, had a once-in-decades opportunity. Turkey stands in the middle of its worst economic crisis in 2 decades. On top of that, there was a fallout of catastrophic earthquakes, which all added to existential obstacles to Erdogan's re-election. The opposition polled 44.9% votes in the first round of polling, but when the competition was between Erdogan and Kılıçdaroğlu, the incumbent won as the nation's choice. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu now faces questions about his leadership and the challenge of preserving a bitter opposition alliance ahead of local voting in March next year. Reports from Turkey say that Ankara's Gandhi will need to immediately refocus on maintaining control of big cities for the municipal polls. It is also likely for the opposition to drop Kılıçdaroğlu's face as the leader, as the frustrated party members and supporters feel the need for a leadership change.
You now have a defeated and possibly disintegrating opposition bloc. Two major parties that make up the backbone of the Nation Alliance have their congresses. They will have to elect their new leaders.
While the opposition serves for unity, Erdogan himself faces supreme challenges. He is now leading a deeply divided country. During both rounds of polling, the youth, Turkey's future generation, was standing against the president.
I look at the people around me who were supporting the opposition, and all of them are resentful. We forgot about spring in this country. We have to make our spring because the people seem to be happy with winter.
But the biggest challenge is the Turkish economy, which in the last few years has taken a beating from what critics view as Erdogan's unorthodox policies.
The central bank's unorthodox approach to monetary policy has seen inflation rise, has taken a large toll on the lira, and created a large external financing gap. And that has contributed to the large exodus of international investors from the country. Now that stands in stark contrast to the size of the economy, which is on the brink of becoming $1 trillion economy. So we think that a return to more orthodox policies, a return to normalcy in the policy framework, could actually reverse that exit in the future.
Turkey's lira slipped towards a fresh record low against the dollar on news of Erdogan's victory. The lira, prone to sharp swings before regular trading hours, has weakened more than 6% since the start of the year. It has lost more than 90% of its value over the past decade. The Turkish economy, meanwhile, has been in the grip of boom and bust cycles, rampant bouts of inflation and a currency crisis. Despite all odds and challenges, what Erdogan has achieved is historic for Turkey. He is now the longest-serving leader since Mustafa Kemal Atatürk established modern Turkey from the ruins of the Ottoman Empire a century ago. And just as Erdogan would like it, the apolitically potent anniversary will be marked in October with him in charge.
United Nations support ship has arrived at the Yemeni coast with a big operation under it. The world body plans to salvage 1.1 million barrels of oil from a decaying tanker before any unfortunate tragedy hits.
Time is ticking for supertanker Safer. The fear of an environmental catastrophe due to the tanker's decaying condition has driven the United Nations to the spot. "31 kilometers from the city of Hodeidah, off the western coast of Yemen in the Red Sea. This is where the oil tanker has been stranded for 8 years. Since the civil war began in Yemen in 2015, the tanker currently holds 1.1 million barrels of crude oil. This is 4 times as much as oil spilled in the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil disaster off the Alaskan coast, one of the worst ecological mishaps of the world. Experts say the oil tanker faces the risk of breaking down, catching fire, or exploding. But how did we reach this critical juncture? Yemen bought the tanker to store oil pumped from fields in Marib, a province located in the central part of the country. But the war-torn country has not been carrying its annual maintenance since 2015. Now, to avert the crisis at hand, United Nations has stepped in.
The risks of something going wrong are real. They're palpable. And yes, if something were to go wrong, indeed, many questions would be asked. The only way we could answer that question is, well, walking away is not an option. Secondly, what do we do to mitigate and minimize all these risks?
The operation involving Endeavour tanker would cost an estimated $148 million. The idea is simple. First, to pump out inert gas to remove the atmospheric oxygen from the oil chambers, transfer the oil to UN-owned vessel Nautica, then tow away the empty tanker. But the timing is crucial.
And I think this combination has worked very well for us to find a way forward for a problem that's been here for 8 years. People have been talking about it, but not doing anything about it. This group has been able to do something about it. I believe we'll be successful. We'll continue to push forward until we succeed.
If an oil spill occurs, it could lead to exposing coastal communities to life-threatening toxins, as well as cause devastation for the fishing communities. It could lead to closure of 2 vital ports of Hodeidah and Salif, which serve as an important doorway for bringing foreign aid to the country. Impact on aquatic life could be severe, so much so that according to the United Nations Development Programme, fish stocks would take 25 years to recover. Countries on the African coast could also be impacted by the oil spill. Several countries, including the United Kingdom, France, Italy and Norway, have thus pledged in support for the salvage operation. The operation would take 4 to 6 weeks to transfer the oil.
Let's talk about Bahrain now. A country famous for F1 races and luxury cars has a historical treasure that not many are aware of. The country has a mosque with roots dating back to thousands of years, from the early days of Islam. Let's take you through the minarets that worshippers claim emits a sense of inner peace.
Standing under a blistering sun, Salam Youssef tours Bahrain's oldest mosque. The site is a symbol of living history, of roots and culture. Standing in the Bahraini town of Tashan, the Kamiz Mosque dates back thousands of years. It is a reminder of the early days of Islam, when the religion was yet to take the entire region by storm.
The mosque is considered one of the first to be built when Islam entered the region, the eastern part of the Arab Peninsula. It currently has a center for visitors that has many antiquities from the Islamic eras in Bahrain.
Back in the 14th century, the twin minarets of the mosque used to act as a landmark for ships at sea, guiding them to land.
This mosque has historical significance for the people of Bahrain, especially when we learn that these minarets were a guide for ships that came by sea.
Today, the mosque means more than a testament of time. For Bahrainis, the mosque is a source of pride. It is a place of peace, solitude, and salvation.
I feel a sense of inner peace when I visit the mosque, especially given this great atmosphere. I feel at ease when I visit this place.
Inscriptions in the area go back to the 11th century, but the mosque itself is said to be several centuries older. Although the exact date is not known, it is believed that this historic mosque was built in the late 7th century. It was the time when the Muslims' caliphate had moved to the Umayyad dynasty that ruled from Damascus, the capital of present-day Syria. In its more than 1400-year history, Islam has seen multiple caliphates. Among them was the Umayyad Caliphate, the one established right after the death of Prophet Muhammad.
Royals from across the world gathered in Jordan this week. The occasion was one of celebration. The Scion and the Crown Prince got married in an extravagant ceremony, a royal event that everyone globally would want to see.
It is the season of celebrations in Jordan. This week, the 28-year-old Crown Prince got married in a lavish ceremony. Prince Hussein was named as heir by his father, King Abdullah, in 2009. Tied the knot with Saudi architect Rajwa Al Saif. The bride hails from a prominent family with links to her own country's ruling dynasty. The Jordanian royal family, known as the Hashemites, have ruled Jordan since 1921. They were the first emirs of the Emirate of Transjordan under a British protectorate, and later became the rulers after the country gained independence from Britain in 1946. The Hashemites hail from the house of Hashem that ruled Mecca from as early as the 10th century, and King Abdullah II is a direct transcendent of the Prophet Muhammad. The last time Jordan saw a royal wedding on this scale was 26 years ago, when the Crown Prince's father, the current king, Abdullah II, got married to Rania Al Yassin. Born in Kuwait to Palestinian parents, there were numerous events held by the royal family. In the run-up to the big day, Prince Omar bin Faisal hosted a shower party for his cousin, Crown Prince Hussein. Many of Crown Prince Hussein's friends and relatives were in attendance at the traditional Jordanian celebration, including his younger brother, Prince Hashem. The main ceremony was in keeping with the Islamic rules. The event, known as Tab, was held at Saran Palace. The much-anticipated nuptials were marked by celebrations across Jordan. Hundreds gathered to witness the procession in Amman. The streets were decorated for the occasion with pictures of the couple and banners. The guest list included the U.S. First Lady Jill Biden, and the British Crown Prince William and his wife Catherine. The royal event conveyed a sense of continuity. It featured elements from previous royal weddings, including a motorcade of red Land Rover Jeeps, which escorted the couple through the streets of Oman after the ceremony. The couple even got married at the same wedding venue, chosen by the groom's father. Happy scenes were on display across the kingdom as Jordanians celebrate the wedding of the royal couple. On the streets, women wearing traditional dresses danced and clapped, while men performed and played the drums.
We congratulate His Majesty the King on the wedding of Prince Hussein, and this joy is for all Jordanians, not just for the Hashemi family, and we wish him a happy wedding.
It made me feel proud that those two families are so close to each other. I mean, it's mixed culture, two cultures, totally different cultures, but anyhow, they are together, and that's the most important thing in this world.
This royal wedding inevitably saw a bit of politics as well. The bride's mother is part of the Al Sudairi family, Saudi Arabia's ruling family. Rajwa is the second cousin of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Saudi crown was expected to attend the event, but gave it a miss in the end. This wedding means more than a beginning for the royal couple. The celebrations hold deep significance. It emphasizes continuity in an Arab state prized for its long-standing stability. It also refreshes the monarchy's image after a palace feud. It could even help resource-poor Jordan forge a strategic bond with its oil-rich neighbor, Saudi Arabia.
That is all we have for you in this week's episode of West Asia Post. I'm Ananya Dutta, and I will be back next week with an all-new lineup with all developments and fresh takes on everything big happening in the region. Until then, keep watching WION World is One.